There are those who always make the point, and they include some very senior military figures in this country. I'm thinking of Lord Dannatt is one particular example, who say, when asked, why do we spend so much on foreign aid? He replies, it's a vital part of soft power. It has to be spent.
Well, Colin, thanks very much for having me on the show today. And the debate over foreign aid spending is very important on both sides of the Atlantic. And I think naturally, of course, in the United Kingdom, many British voters are upset about the large amounts of taxpayers' money that is sent overseas. In my view, a lot of this money is actually wasted. And I think that Rory Stewart is absolutely right to point out that we need to rethink foreign aid. I don't always agree with Rory on issues, but I do agree with him on this matter. I think a lot of foreign aid assistance would be far better spent on Britain's national security, upon its defence. It cannot be justified, I think, to spend around £12 billion a year on foreign aid. Some of that aid goes to governments across the world who do not support the United Kingdom over its foreign policy. Some of these governments are corrupt. A lot of this money, of course, goes to international organizations like the United Nations, for example. I think that a great deal of foreign aid spending would be far better spent in terms of projecting British hard power, especially British defence. Liz Truss, the leading candidate to become the next Prime Minister, has pledged to increase defence spending to 3%. That's the right approach. You should reallocate a significant amount of foreign aid spending towards defence spending and for the security of the British people.
Niall, there was a very influential book, not influential enough, I think, as it turns out, written a few years ago by Dambusa Moyo called Dead Aid. And it made the point very compellingly, I would say, that actually, as well as all the reasons you give for why foreign aid can sometimes be counterproductive, there's another one. And it's the fact that actually it can turn regimes and countries and the economies that they preside over into basket cases, because you create a dependency culture and you stop trade.
Yeah, that's absolutely right, Colin. And I think that foreign aid assistance does build up a dependency culture. It also props up, in many cases, corrupt and inefficient governments. You've seen that across many parts of Africa in terms of foreign aid assistance from European governments over the course of many, many decades. And there's a huge amount of monumental waste of British taxpayer money. It's far better, of course, to trade with countries, to develop economic freedom in these countries rather than give out handouts. I think handouts develops, as you point out rightly, Colin, a very dangerous dependency culture that often benefits the political ruling elites of these countries rather than the people themselves. And I think that free trade is a far better approach than just giving out handouts. And in terms of international development assistance, I do think this is better handled by private companies, by charities, for example. This should not be the role of government, actually.